On March 6th, 2026, many investors who are invested with Old Mutual Investment Group woke up to some of the best news you can wake up to when it comes to your investments and your fund manager thinking long term when they communicated a complimentary life cover on top of their investments. Now, let's think about Old Mutual is one of the top, is one of the seven fund managers in Uganda. But most importantly, Old Mutual is the biggest fund manager when it comes to assets under management for the collective investment schemes, which is the unit trust schemes. Their umbrella fund alone is over right now over $1 billion or close to 3.5 trillion UGX. That shows strength. That shows that they have grown and they are growing with the industry and they are thinking how what extra value can they give to their different investors. And that's important because it starts to put pressure to the different fund managers to think about value. I know some other fund managers, they are thinking about lowering the investment management fees because the investment horizon is improving. When now you have more investors, you drive efficiencies that can lower the cost, which helps you to either give a higher return to the investors or lower the management fees. But what the step Odimutual is taking is absolutely good because this is another product within the financial services space, like a life cover that is on top of your investments. And one good thing they have talked about is that when we are going to go through the questions and the different questions that I had in mind when this email came through, is it worth it? What should we celebrate in? What should the investors pay attention to that might not just necessarily be communicated in this write up? Anyway, when I read through the conditions, all the frequently asked questions which bring in the conditions, is one, it's complementary, so someone doesn't need to apply for it. The only challenge is if you already have a life insurance product and you already have a money market fund, so you're going to have to ask yourself which one serves you better. But at least this is also available. However, their first position is, do I need to apply for the embedded life cover? And the answer, no. You automatically have to first qualify. You have to meet certain eligibility criteria, which eligibility requirement is you must maintain your fund balance, your trust balance for over 3 months or increase it. And you'll be notified once you are eligible. So this assumes two things. One, you're already an investor with Old Mutual. Two, you maintain that balance, but most importantly, you either maintain it or increase it for at least 3 months. Now, for me, this is where the challenge starts in, right? For different, one of the biggest selling positions of a fund manager of unit trusts is the liquidity arrangement, the liquidity that an investor has the capacity to access their money whenever they want. Now, this type of arrangement does not take away that you can still access your money. However, if you want to easily or be in a position to benefit from their complementary um, life cover, you must either maintain the balance for 3 months or or increase your fund in the 3 months period. And I believe the more balance you have on your account, the different structure of your life coverage will be, because life coverage is life coverage, but the benefits in the case of the uncertainties come, that automatically is based on what coverage you had and the claims you end up going to get, because both two people can get a life cover. One person might get one life cover which qualifies them at death, a 10 million payout or school fees for their kids. Another person has the same life cover, but given the premium they have been paying, maybe monthly or annually, they qualify for 5 million. So because they're yet to fully communicate what the benefits are going to be for this life product, then you have to assess that, okay, what is it going to be? At least right now we have more questions than answers, but the coverage of use, you have to maintain that regard. The only question that I have is that if, for example, I've been depositing 100,000 and for full year I've been maintaining it. Now I'm qualifying for a life cover at the beginning level. But 2 months down the road, I withdraw the money, and for whatever genuine reasons, do I get dropped as soon as I withdraw the money? If I increase the funds, to what level must I increase the funds for me to jump from one coverage bracket to the second coverage bracket? Because it's going to come back to that. Right now, we have to assess the benefit based on the life coverage at the same as the unit trust. So that eligibility criteria that requires someone to first either maintain their balance or increase their balance, their fund balance, it has a question mark on it, but it's a question mark that is easier to answer. At least from an investment perspective, nothing does stop you there. And when you think about it from that angle, you're like, one, it's a big win for all the mutual. It's a big win for the industry. It's a big win for everyone who plays into the industry. One, it will start to force or to encourage people to keep their money into the fund, to keep their money into the investments, not to just withdraw what you only withdraw what you need. But two, from all the mutual, which is the leading player in this case, the biggest fund manager, you have stable assets under management. You can predict the inflow and the outflow. That elimination of where people can withdraw whenever they want, just to encourage them to have that life cover, that's good. And it helps people who have been struggling to get life coverage to start getting life coverage insurance. So I'm happy with what Old Mutual is doing, because there are people who have been invested or investing in unit trusts, money market funds, treasury bonds, and other products, but somehow have never thought about buying a life insurance policy. Now, this one, the fact that you don't need to go and apply for it. It's automatically embedded if you meet the eligibility criteria. That's good. The only problem is the way when you drop or you withdraw your money, then even if half of it, even if you reduce your funding, if I reduce my funding, and these are the one of the questions we have to ask ourselves is, if I've been investing, maybe I have a total balance of 20 million and I've maintained it for 3 months. So now I'm eligible for the life cover. Then out of 10 million, I withdraw, or 20 million, I withdraw 10 million. Do I lose my full eligibility of life cover, or do my benefits reduce temporarily? Why is that is important? Because person A might have been saving 20 million, so they have a life cover, and person B must have been saving 10 million, so they have a life cover. The person A withdraws 20 to come to 10, and then they would lose their life cover, while the person of 10 million, for them, they have their life cover continuing. That is extremely important. When you get people who are going to explain this to the people, you have to explain it to them. The most other important position, and which we shall pay attention to, is the commoditization of yields. Now, investments as a product is about where do we maximize the return. And we have seen across board the last 1 or 2 years, returns have been consistently good, and the same for the different fund managers. Will this have an impact to the return and the yields that will be communicated to the investors? The fact that right now we do not have so much transparency in the monthly fund manager statements. We don't know what's the expense ratio. We just have the management fee, which is 2%. We only know also the total assets under management. There's so much more information that needs to be communicated that is not communicated by the different fund managers. It's going to be now to monitor exclusively and clearly the yield rate. For as long as we see a differentiator between it and what the competition is giving, then will it send a signal that maybe this cover is not free, but it's somehow somewhere funded by the people's investments, just that embedded under management fees? So that would be a question to look out for. Now, for people who are investing little amounts, that might not be a problem. For someone who is investing, who might have assets under management of, let's say, 100 million and above, that starts to make a challenge. A question of yield becomes important. So it's going to get better. I know this has been a creative structure, but it will get better, where we shall have to pay attention to how it works out. So the other most important position they communicated is the life cover is complementary. When you maintain or increase the fund balance, it will be important to maintain to view your benefits. Every investor right now is going to monitor the performance of the fund, whatever your assets are in, to make sure how am I performance versus the benefits I'm getting from this. And then, like I said, when it comes now to monitoring the yield the fund will be providing, it will be extremely important to see how it is. And the good thing is they're structuring it in such a good way, like in this way they say after 48 hours after getting your receipt for your claims for your benefits, communicate this communication is very very good, and it will help many people to to start taking advantage of these products that are coming supplementary, complementary to their investment goals that they are driving. And yes, if your fund balance increases, your cover amount may increase based on the minimum balance in the previous quarter. Very critical, minimum balance. So there is going to be, we shall see more and more as it comes out. No underwriting, no application, no medicals. We shall see. The question is, we rarely see life insurance coverages for older people. Does this mean even a 70-year-old who has a unit trust will always get their direct coverage? We are yet to see. So that where there is still a little bit of clarity to be made in that regard, but we shall see. I know they have this data, they have the data for majority of us. If I have, what about a unit trust which is managed by investment clubs? What are they going to do? That's the question they have to give us answer to, because some people invest as a group. They have one account as an investment club or a company which represents maybe 30 people. Does the life coverage cover the 30 people, or should now 30 people come individually to each and every person? That's going to be an interesting scale. What will the market players do, the other fund managers? Are they going to reduce the management fee to make sure they give better yield to attract clients? Or is the old mutual rule way the leading way? The fact that majority of the fund managers have sister companies in life insurance companies, it's going to be an interesting way to see how it's going to play out. The only challenge there is one of the it's going to kind of take away this benefit for someone to have to enjoy the benefit of the life coverage. They must forego the liquidity element that has been a big driving force for the unit trust and the money market fund promotions. But sometimes something must give way. Is it, will this insurance be free? Of course, it's not free. It will be paid off by all the mutual through management fees. We shall see how that ends up eating away in the yield of the investors, will the returns and everything. But at least it starts to create that behavioral lock-in, which we know is extremely important. Like we always say, when it comes to finance, finance is not just about numbers. One of the biggest challenges we have faced in Uganda is, for example, especially the endowment funds that have always been promoted as if they are investment products, yet they are not. These are insurance products, and one of their biggest position has been a lock-in period that allows someone not to be depositing money for 5 years. They get a lower benefit, but they have coverage. Now, this kind of product, now all of a sudden it challenges the endowment products. And this makes more sense because you can withdraw your money. You can withdraw your money whenever you want, or withdraw some of your money without being penalized what the endowment funds do. But at least it creates an incentive for you to have a behavior that allows you to lock in your money, to leave your money in for long term. And if I want to get a life cover, I might as well just buy put money on a unit trust, and I see the benefits I have. If I meet them, I leave that money there to compound and grow as I enjoy the life cover. That is going to be an interesting way. That's why I say whoever thought through it and guided the old mutual to do this, it's going to be an amazing product. Can the benefit amount change over time? Yes, the benefit amount may increase or decrease depending on your minimum fund balance in each previous quarter. That's extremely important. We are Until we get more data that is going to come in, is going to be yeah, to understand how to enjoy this. The starting position, it is an incredible product, an incredible incentive that is going to drive so much change. Thank you so much, Old Mutual. You are leading the front, and we shall see what other people will have to do.